The Wilkinson family gathered in the dimly lit attorney's office, the air heavy with anticipation. Mr. Thompson, the family lawyer, eyed them solemnly over his half-moon spectacles. The room was adorned with antique furniture, giving it an air of quiet dignity. Mrs. Wilkinson, Mr. Wilkinson, please take a seat. Mr. Thompson gestured toward the ornate wooden chairs arranged in a semicircle. Margaret and Charles exchanged curious glances, their children, David and Anna, fidgeting with excitement. The lawyer cleared his throat before opening an aged leather-bound document. As per your late relative's will, the Wilkinson family is bequeathed a peculiar item, a Christmas ornament of significant historical value. He produced a small velvet box from his desk and carefully placed it in front of the family. As Charles opened the box, a gasp escaped Margaret's lips. Nestled within the velvet was a dazzling silver ornament, intricately engraved with delicate patterns. Its surface shimmered in the office's soft light, casting an ethereal glow. David, ever the skeptic, couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. An ornament? That's our inheritance. Margaret gently elbowed him, shooting a disapproving look. Show some respect, David. This belonged to your great-uncle. There must be a reason he left it to us. Mr. Thompson continued, Legend has it that this ornament brings immense joy to its owners, but it comes at a grave cost. It has a dark history, one that dates back generations. Many believe it's cursed, while others dismiss it as mere superstition. Anna's eyes widened with intrigue. Cursed? What do you mean? The lawyer leaned back in his chair, folding his hands. Folklore surrounding this ornament speaks of a malevolent force that manifests during the holiday season. It's said to tap into the deepest fears and regrets of those who possess it. The joy it brings is merely a facade for the darkness that lurks within. Charles chuckled nervously. You can't be serious. It's just a story, right? Mr. Thompson's gaze was steady. I am bound to carry out your great-uncle's wishes. Whether you choose to believe the legend or not is entirely up to you. Just be cautious. As the family left the lawyer's office, the ornate ornament cradled in Margaret's hands, an uneasy silence lingered. The weight of the inheritance hung in the air, both a blessing and a foreboding curse. Back at home, the Wilkinsons gathered around their worn-out living room table. David examined the ornament skeptically while Anna marveled at its craftsmanship. Margaret sighed, breaking the tension. Let's put it on the tree. It's Christmas after all. We can't let a silly legend ruin our holiday spirit. Charles nodded in agreement, though a flicker of doubt clouded his eyes. The family made their way to the storage room, unearthing the artificial tree and boxes of festive decorations. As they adorned the tree with tinsel and twinkling lights, Margaret hung the silver ornament in a place of honor. The room seemed to brighten with holiday cheer, but an observant eye might catch the subtle shift in the ornament's glow. David couldn't resist a teasing remark. If this thing is cursed, we'll know soon enough. Maybe it'll bring us luck instead. Little did they know that the festive flicker of the ornament held the promise of joy and darkness intertwined like the delicate engravings on its surface. The holiday season had just begun, and the Wilkinson family was about to embark on a perilous journey into the heart of a cursed Christmas. As the Wilkinson family settled into the warmth of their home, the legend of the ornate Christmas ornament lingered in the back of their minds. The town, draped in winter's frosty embrace, buzzed with whispers about the enigmatic decoration. One evening, Margaret invited the family to join her at the local historical society, where she hoped to uncover the truth behind the ornament's dark history. The society's dusty shelves held volumes of forgotten lore and tales passed down through generations. Upon entering, the air was thick with the scent of aging paper and the soft creaking of wooden floorboards. Margaret approached the curator, a stooped figure with a mane of silver hair. "Hello, Mrs. Wilkinson. How may I help you today?" The curator greeted her. Margaret hesitated for a moment before revealing the silver ornament. "We recently inherited this from a relative. and there's a peculiar legend attached to it. I was hoping you could shed some light on its history." The curator's eyes widened as he recognized the ornate decoration. "Ah, the Winter's Veil bauble. It's been a part of our town's folklore for centuries. Some call it a blessing, while others swear it's a curse." David smirked. "A curse? What kind of nonsense is that?" The curator chuckled. "Nonsense or not, there's a reason why it's kept under lock and key in our archives. The Winter's Veil bauble has a history of bringing both joy and despair to those who possess it." He guided them to a dusty bookshelf, pulling out a worn leather-bound volume. The pages crackled as he flipped through the ages, revealing sketches and descriptions of the very ornament the Wilkinsons now owned. Legend has it that the bauble was forged by a skilled artisan who harbored a deep sorrow. He poured his anguish into the silver, creating an object that could bring happiness, but at a cost. The joy it imparts is genuine, but it awakens the dormant fears and regrets within the owner. Anna's eyes widened with fascination. "So it's like a wish-granting ornament?" The curator nodded solemnly. "In a way, yes. But be warned, for the wishes it grants are not always what one desires. It feeds on the emotional essence of its owners, turning their deepest fears and regrets into haunting realities." Charles exchanged a worried glance with Margaret. "Is there any way to break the curse?" The curator sighed. "The only way to break the curse is to confront the fears and regrets head-on. The bauble thrives on the unspoken, the unresolved. Only by facing these demons can one hope to free themselves from its grip." As the family left the Historical Society, the weight of the legend bore down on them. The Winter's Veil bauble was no ordinary ornament. It was a vessel for the supernatural, a bridge between joy and terror. Back home, the atmosphere shifted. The once jovial decorations now carried an ominous undertone. The family gathered around the tree, exchanging uneasy glances. David broke the silence. "So what now? Do we take this legend seriously?" Margaret sighed, her eyes fixed on the shimmering ornament. "We can't ignore the possibility. We need to be cautious, especially during the holiday season. We'll face whatever comes our way as a family." Little did they know that the legend of the Winter's Veil bauble had become an inextricable part of their lives. The festive lights outside flickered with an eerie glow, signaling that the ornate decoration had woven its threads into the fabric of their holiday season, ready to unveil the secrets hidden within the silver engravings. As December nights stretched long, the Wilkinson household embraced the holiday spirit, determined to cast aside the ominous tales surrounding the Winter's Veil bauble. The town twinkled with festive lights, and the air buzzed with the anticipation of Christmas. One evening, the family gathered in the cozy living room, the glow of the fireplace casting dancing shadows on the walls. The Winter's Veil bauble, nestled within the evergreen branches of the Christmas tree, seemed to shimmer with an ethereal radiance. As they sat in the soft glow of the fire, a subtle change rippled through the room. The ornament emitted a warm, inviting light that drew the family's attention like moths to a flame. Unbeknownst to them, the bauble had begun its malevolent dance, stirring the dormant fears and regrets within each family member. Charles, his eyes fixed on the ornament, couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted. "Do you all feel that? It's like the rune has taken on a life of its own." David waved off his father's concerns. "It's probably just the Christmas magic. You know, the whole holiday ambience thing." But Margaret, her gaze fixed on the bauble, felt a growing unease. "I don't know. It's as if the ornament is alive, reacting to something we can't see." Anna, engrossed in her book, looked up with a furrowed brow. "Guys, I think Mom might be onto something. Look at the tree. The lights seem different." Indeed, the once warm and comforting glow of the Christmas lights now held a subtle, sinister hue. Shadows danced on the walls like specters whispering secrets of long-buried fears. The family exchanged uneasy glances, realizing that the legend might not be a mere superstition. As the night deepened, the festive lights took on an otherworldly radiance. The warmth turned to an unsettling, spectral glow, casting an eerie pallor over the room. The fire crackled, its flames reflecting the ominous dance of the winter's veil bauble. Charles, a knot forming in his stomach, hesitated before speaking. Maybe there's some truth to the legend. Maybe we should be cautious. Margaret nodded, her concern mirroring that of her husband. Let's keep an eye on things. We won't let a mere ornament ruin our holiday, but we can't ignore what we're feeling. The family, determined to salvage the festive spirit, continued with their holiday preparations. Yet, as the night wore on, a subtle tension lingered in the air. Unseen forces seemed to toy with the edges of their consciousness, threatening to unveil the buried fears and regrets that lurked within. As the clock struck midnight, a chill swept through the room, and the bauble's glow intensified. The Wilkinson family found themselves drawn to the Christmas tree, unable to resist the enchantment that emanated from the silver ornament. In the silence that followed, David broke the uneasy quiet. Okay, this is getting weird. Are we all seeing the same thing, or am I losing it? Anna, her voice hushed, replied, I think it's the ornament. It's doing something to us, something beyond our understanding. Suddenly, the room seemed to warp and shift. The family members felt a strange pull, as if they were being transported to a place between reality and nightmare. The once jolly Christmas atmosphere transformed into a nightmarish landscape, and the ornate bauble glowed with an intensity that belied its elegant appearance. Little did the Wilkinsons know that the sinister glow marked the beginning of a harrowing journey into the depths of their own fears and regrets. A journey they had unwittingly embarked upon by accepting the twisted inheritance that hung from the branches of their Christmas tree. As the sinister glow of the winter's veil bauble intensified, Margaret found herself drawn to the Christmas tree like a moth to a flame. The ornament's ethereal radiance seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy, and an invisible force compelled her to gaze into its reflective surface. David, noticing his mother's trance-like state, called out to her, concern etched across his face. Mom, are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. Margaret, her eyes fixated on the ornament, whispered in a distant voice, There's something in there, something from the past. I can't look away. The room darkened as if shadows from forgotten memories loomed over them. The once festive atmosphere shifted into an oppressive silence, and the air became heavy with the weight of unresolved emotions. Charles, realizing the gravity of the situation, rushed to Margaret's side. What's happening, Margaret? Snap out of it. But Margaret, trapped within the bauble's enchantment, was transported to a different time, a time when her choices and regrets haunted her like persistent ghosts. In the reflection of the ornament, scenes from Margaret's past unfolded like a tragic play. She saw herself as a young woman, full of dreams and aspirations, standing at a crossroads. The echoes of a decision made long ago reverberated through the room. Young Margaret, clad in a vibrant red dress, faced an ultimatum. Pursue her passion for painting and risk the uncertainty of an artist's life, or settle for a stable but unfulfilling career to support her growing family. As the scene played out, the weight of regret settled on Margaret's shoulders. She watched herself choose the path of stability, sacrificing her artistic dreams for the sake of her family. The vibrant colors of her life faded into muted tones of compromise and unfulfilled potential. Charles, a younger version of himself appearing in the reflection, pleaded with Margaret to follow her heart. The haunting echo of his words pierced the present, and Margaret felt the sting of regret anew. The room became a surreal blend of past and present, and Margaret's voice trembled as she spoke, addressing the apparitions in the ornament. I had dreams, ambitions. I let them slip away for the sake of security. What have I become? David, his eyes wide with realization, understood the gravity of his mother's revelation. You sacrificed your dreams for us? Margaret, her voice breaking, nodded. I thought it was the right thing to do, but now I see the cost. The dreams I buried, the person I could have been. As the confession hung in the air, The room seemed to shift back to the present. The sinister glow of the bauble dimmed, and Margaret, released from its grasp, sank into a nearby chair. The weight of her unspoken regret lingered like a heavy mist. Charles, grappling with the revelation, spoke softly. "Margaret, we never knew. I never knew the depth of your sacrifice." Tears welled in Margaret's eyes. "I don't want pity. I just need to face the truth. The ornament showed me my deepest regret. The artist I could have been, lost in the shadows of practicality." The family, enveloped in an uncomfortable silence, grappled with the newfound understanding of Margaret's past. The winter's veil bauble, having unveiled a mother's regret, seemed to pulse with a malevolent satisfaction, as if feeding on the emotional turmoil it had stirred. Little did they know that the journey into the heart of their fears and regrets had just begun, and the shadows cast by the ornate bauble would continue to play out the haunting narratives of each family member in the nights that lay ahead. As the sinister glow of the winter's veil bauble subsided after revealing Margaret's regret, the room plunged into a heavy silence. The family, still reeling from the emotional tumult, couldn't shake the feeling that something malevolent lingered in the shadows. David, haunted by the revelation about his mother, retreated to his room, seeking solace in the familiarity of his surroundings. The ominous aura of the ornament clung to him like a phantom, and as he closed his eyes, sleep enveloped him in a surreal dreamscape. In the dream, David found himself standing in the dimly lit corridors of his childhood home. Shadows danced on the walls, and the air was thick with a palpable sense of dread. The once familiar surroundings morphed into a distorted version of reality. A disembodied voice echoed through the halls, carrying with it the weight of missed opportunities and shattered aspirations. "David," it whispered, a haunting murmur that seemed to emanate from the very walls. Confused and unnerved, David ventured deeper into the dream, the corridors stretching endlessly before him. The whispers grew louder, shaping into fragments of conversations, laughter, and the distant echoes of music, the echoes of the life he could have had. The dream led him to a door, half ajar and creaking in the eerie silence. As he pushed it open, he entered a room bathed in an ethereal glow. The walls were adorned with framed paintings, each a masterpiece born from the depths of his imagination. In the center of the room, a canvas stood on an easel, unfinished yet pulsating with artistic energy. David recognized the painting. It was his magnum opus, the creation he had longed to bring to life, but had abandoned in pursuit of a conventional career. A spectral figure emerged from the shadows, resembling David but bearing the weight of unfulfilled potential. It was the artist he could have become, a version of himself unfettered by the chains of conformity. The figure spoke, its voice a haunting echo of David's inner turmoil. "Why did you abandon me, David? Why did you let our dreams fade away?" David, grappling with the surreal nightmare, tried to justify his choices. "I had responsibilities, bills to pay. I couldn't chase after an unrealistic fantasy." The artist's figure shook its head, eyes filled with disappointment. "You traded your passion for a mundane existence. Look around. This could have been your reality." The room morphed again, this time into a stark contrast of what could have been. David saw himself in a cubicle, the monotony of office life reflected in his weary eyes. The once vibrant colors of the dream world turned to shades of gray, mirroring the dullness of his chosen path. His younger self, trapped in the dream, questioned the ghostly apparition. "Is this my future? Is this the life I've settled for?" The artist's figure nodded solemnly. "This is the consequence of abandoning your true calling. The winter's veil bauble has shown you the road not taken, the artist you left behind." Suddenly, the dream shattered like fragile glass, and David awoke with a start, the echoes of the nightmare still lingering in his mind. The room, now bathed in the soft light of dawn, seemed both familiar and alien. Anna, knocking on his door, entered with a concerned expression. "David, you look like you've seen a ghost. Are you okay?" David, shaken by the vivid dream, struggled to find the right words. It was the bauble. It showed me a nightmare, a version of myself I could have been. I let go of my passion for the safety of a predictable life. Anna, empathy in her eyes, sat beside him. We're all facing our fears, David. The ornament seems to bring them to life, but it doesn't define us. We can change our paths, confront our regrets. As the siblings shared a moment of understanding, the winter's veil bauble, hanging ominously in the living room, seemed to cast a watchful eye over the family. The nightmare had only just begun, and the echoes of regret reverberated through the halls, waiting to unveil the next chapter of their harrowing journey into the heart of darkness. The unsettling aura of the winter's veil bauble continued to cast a shadow over the Wilkinson household, its malevolence reaching into the dreams and fears of each family member. Anna, the artistic soul of the family, found herself increasingly drawn to the ornate silver ornament, its presence both enchanting and foreboding. One evening, as the family gathered for a modest dinner, Anna's gaze kept drifting toward the Christmas tree. The sinister glow of the bauble seemed to beckon to her, promising answers to questions she had long suppressed. Margaret noticed her daughter's distraction and inquired, "Anna, what's on your mind, dear? You've been quiet all evening." Anna hesitated, her eyes fixed on the bauble. "It's the ornament. I feel like it's calling to me, pulling me into something I can't quite understand." Charles, sharing a concerned glance with Margaret, spoke gently, "It's affecting all of us, Anna. We need to face whatever it's bringing to the surface." That night, as Anna succumbed to the embrace of sleep, the dream world opened before her like a portal to the depths of her artistic soul. She found herself standing in an otherworldly gallery, each painting on the walls bearing her signature style, vibrant, emotional, and filled with life. But the once celebratory atmosphere of the dream gallery began to warp. The colors morphed into somber tones, and the subjects of her paintings twisted into grotesque representations of despair and agony. Faces contorted in pain, landscapes warped into nightmarish scenes, and the very essence of her artistic expression transformed into a grotesque parody of her creativity. A spectral figure emerged from the shadows, an embodiment of Anna's artistic genius, tainted by the despair she had long suppressed. The figure spoke, its voice a haunting echo of her own doubts and insecurities. "You had the world at your fingertips, Anna, but you let the darkness within you consume your creations." Confused and overwhelmed, Anna tried to defend herself. "No, this isn't me. My art is meant to inspire, not to haunt." The spectral figure, its eyes reflecting her inner turmoil, shook its head. "You denied the shadows within, and now they manifest in your work. Embrace the despair, confront the pain, or it will continue to consume everything you create." The dream gallery shifted again, this time into a nightmarish studio where Anna stood before an easel, paralyzed by the fear of facing her own demons. The canvas before her remained blank, a haunting reminder of the artistic stagnation that had gripped her. David's voice, a distant echo in the dream, reached out to her. "Anna, you were meant for greatness. Don't let fear hold you back." Tears welled in Anna's eyes as she confronted the stark reality of her unspoken despair. The dream mirrored the emotional labyrinth she had navigated throughout her artistic journey. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, and most profoundly, fear of facing the depths of her own emotions. As the dream began to unravel, Anna awoke with a start, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and revelation. The room, illuminated by the soft glow of the moon, seemed both familiar and foreign. Margaret, sensing her daughter's distress, entered the room with a concerned expression. "Anna, are you all right? You seem troubled in your sleep." Anna, her voice quivering, confessed, "The bauble showed me the darker side of my art, the despair I've been avoiding. I thought I was expressing myself, but I've been running from the pain." Margaret, embracing her daughter, spoke with a soothing tone. "Confronting our fears is the only way to break free from the bauble's hold. We'll face this together, as a family." The next day, as the family reconvened in the living room, Anna's gaze lingered on the bauble with a newfound understanding. The ornament, once a source of enchantment, had become a mirror reflecting the hidden recesses of her artistic soul. The winter's veil bauble, hanging ominously on the Christmas tree, seemed to pulse with an insidious energy, awaiting the next chapter in the Wilkinson family's journey into the twisted tapestry of their own fears and regrets. The daughter's despair had been unveiled, leaving a lingering sense of foreboding for what lay ahead. As the nights unfolded in the Wilkinson household, the oppressive weight of the winter's veil bauble's curse tightened its grip. Charles, the family patriarch, felt a growing unease, a gnawing fear that had long lurked in the recesses of his subconscious. The ominous glow of the ornament cast elongated shadows on the walls, signaling the approach of another haunting revelation. One evening, the family gathered in the living room, a palpable tension lingering in the air. Charles, his gaze fixed on the ornate bauble, could sense the impending intrusion into the depths of his fears. Margaret, her concern etched on her face, approached him. "Charles, what's been bothering you? You've seemed on edge lately," she said, her voice a gentle reassurance. Charles hesitated, the weight of his unspoken fears pressing down on him. "I don't know, Margaret. It's like this ornament is pulling us into a nightmare, and I can't shake the feeling that my deepest fears are about to come to life." David, overhearing the conversation, chimed in with a hint of skepticism. "Come on, Dad, it's just a story. We can't let a piece of silver dictate our lives." Anna, her recent revelation about her artistic fears still fresh in her mind, added, "But David, we can't ignore what it's done to us. It's like it knows our vulnerabilities and exploits them." As night fell, the family prepared for sleep, and Charles, succumbing to the inevitability of the bauble's influence, found himself caught in the labyrinth of his own subconscious fears. In the dream, Charles stood in a desolate landscape, a manifestation of his deepest insecurities. A spectral figure, his own distorted reflection, emerged from the shadows, a manifestation of the man he feared becoming. The figure's eyes bore into Charles's soul, revealing the specter of a broken and defeated version of himself. "Why did you let us down, Charles?" The figure echoed, its voice a haunting reminder of his inner turmoil. The dream unfolded like a twisted timeline, each scene a snapshot of Charles's life. He witnessed moments of missed opportunities, the specter of his younger self plagued by self-doubt and indecision. A failed business venture, strained relationships, and the heavy burden of providing for his family, all played out in a surreal panorama. As the dream delved deeper into the recesses of Charles's psyche, a chilling scene unfolded. He found himself in a dimly lit room, a metaphorical representation of his own failures. The walls were lined with framed photographs, each capturing a moment where he believed he had let his family down. David's voice, an echo from the past, resonated through the room. "Why weren't you there when I needed you, Dad? You were always too busy with work." The guilt welled up within Charles as he tried to defend himself. "I did it all for you, for the family. I thought providing for you was the best way to show my love." But the specter, unmoved by Charles's justifications, stared back with accusing eyes. "You were so afraid of failure that you became a stranger to your own family. Your fear of letting us down turned into a self-fulfilling prophecy." The dream culminated in a nightmarish confrontation with the specter, and Charles, overwhelmed by the weight of his fears, awoke with a start. The room, bathed in the dim glow of the moonlight, felt suffocating as the echoes of his own despair lingered. Margaret, sensing her husband's distress, entered the room with a mixture of concern and understanding. "Charles, you look like you've seen a ghost. What happened?" Charles, his voice haunted by the remnants of the dream, confessed, "It showed me my fear. The fear of not being enough for you and the kids. The fear of failing as a father." Margaret, wrapping her arms around him, spoke with an empathetic tenderness. "We faced our fears, Charles, and we'll face this one together. The bauble may reveal our darkest secrets, but it doesn't define who we are." The family, united by the shared burden of their fears and regrets, reconvened in the living room. The winter's veil bauble, its glow now subdued, seemed to watch with an inscrutable gaze. The father's fear had been unveiled, leaving a lingering sense of vulnerability and anticipation for the next revelation in their nightmarish odyssey. The Wilkinson family, burdened by the revelations brought to light by the winter's veil bauble, gathered in the living room with a sense of trepidation. The once jolly Christmas atmosphere had transformed into an eerie silence, the weight of their fears and regrets lingering like a ghostly presence. As the family stared at the enigmatic ornament hanging from the tree, a collective decision took root, a shared determination to confront the truth that lurked within the silver engravings. Charles, his gaze fixed on the bauble, spoke with a resolute tone. "We can't let this cursed ornament control our lives. We need to uncover the truth behind it and break the hold it has on us." Margaret nodded in agreement, her eyes reflecting a blend of concern and determination. "I've been researching its history. There must be a way to reverse its effects, to free ourselves from this nightmare." David, still grappling with the vivid nightmare of his alternate life, added, "I agree. We can't let the bauble dictate our fate. We need to confront whatever dark force it's unleashed and put an end to this." Anna, the weight of her artistic despair still fresh in her mind, spoke softly. "It's time to face our fears, to confront the regrets that bind us. Only then can we hope to break the curse." The family, bound by a common resolve, embarked on a quest for answers. Their journey led them to the town's archives, where dusty tomes and forgotten scrolls held the secrets of the winter's veil bauble. The town's historian, a wise old woman with an air of ancient knowledge, greeted them. "You seek the truth of the bauble, do you?" she inquired, her eyes gleaming with a mix of curiosity and caution. Charles nodded, a sense of urgency in his voice. "We need to know how to break the curse, to free ourselves from the nightmares it's unleashed upon us." The historian gestured to a weathered book, its pages filled with cryptic symbols and arcane knowledge. Legend speaks of a ritual, a way to confront the malevolent force that resides within the bauble. But be warned, for the path ahead is fraught with peril. As the family delved into the ancient texts, they discovered a ritual that required them to gather on the eve of the winter solstice, the longest night of the year. In the presence of the bauble, they had to confront their fears and regrets, speaking their truths aloud, and collectively break the curse that bound them. The night of the winter solstice arrived, and the Wilkinson family assembled in the living room. The winter's veil bauble, bathed in a haunting glow, seemed to watch with an otherworldly awareness. Margaret, her voice steady yet tinged with vulnerability, began the ritual. "I regret sacrificing my dreams for the sake of stability. I want to face the pain of what might have been." David followed. "I fear becoming a reflection of the life I glimpsed in the nightmare. I want to embrace the uncertainty and pursue my passions." Anna, her artistic soul laid bare, confessed, "I regret letting fear taint my art. I want to confront the despair within and create from a place of truth." Charles, the weight of fatherhood pressing on him, spoke, "I fear failing my family, of not being enough. I want to break free from the shackles of inadequacy." As each family member bared their souls, the room seemed to vibrate with an unseen energy. The winter's veil bauble pulsed, its glow intensifying as if absorbing the confessions that hung in the air. In a climactic moment, the family joined hands, their collective strength uniting against the malevolent force within the bauble. As they spoke the words of release, the ornament trembled, and a surge of energy radiated through the room. A blinding light engulfed them, and for a moment the family felt suspended in time. When the light subsided, the bauble hung innocuously on the tree, its malevolence seemingly lifted. The historian, who had observed the ritual from the shadows, approached with a knowing smile. "You've confronted the darkness within and broken the curse. The winter's veil bauble will trouble you no more." As the family absorbed the weight of the revelation, The once ominous ornament now seemed like a mere decoration. The room, once shrouded in nightmarish echoes, brightened with a newfound sense of peace. The Wilkinson family, having faced their deepest fears and regrets, emerged from the ordeal stronger and more connected than ever. The truth had been unveiled, and as they embraced the warmth of a new day, the echoes of the cursed Christmas faded into distant memories, leaving behind a tale of resilience, unity, and the transformative power of confronting one's own shadows.